We're joined here now by outgoing Mayor of Donegal, Councillor Ian McGarvey, who of course was running in the Letterkenny Milford constituency, and looks as if he's going to be returned for another term. Ian, it's early days yet, but things looking good for you, so I'm sure you're very pleased about that prospect in the first place.
I want to say one thing. One has to be pleased in my situation. So much involved in community life in my lifetime. At every opportunity, want to see our people and community and county do well. As long as we look after what we can for people and try to persuade, we'll say, government and even from the EU to Donegal to provide for people, because if we look after the wider community, everybody benefits. So I have the opportunity of getting a seat again. It's a great opportunity for me. I've been around that long now, and I did look forward to it, as I've always done, and making a contribution that would be to the benefit of people, because if I look at life out there in general, the well-being of our people is very, very important to me. Health is very important. Support for the people who are vulnerable and otherwise, either financially, health-wise or anything else, because these are situations that never go away. And I have had contact with many people, and unfortunately in many cases departments and others in HSE are not as sympathetic as I would like to see them be. Yeah. Because for me the first thing in life, and that is well-being, and the other thing for people to be content. If I even look at government policy at the present time, and I'm dealing with it every day, where people are losing medical cards, losing other financial advantages that they may have had through disability and other things, and elderly people maybe being cut by €20, and even where the widower is left on their own, facing circumstances now that they have to meet the same costs as when there was two incomes coming into the house. Things are so serious for the like of me, and I have thought to myself, looking at, we'll say, their circumstances, it's as bad as a break into their house, because they're sitting in their house and there's no protection whatsoever, nor no knowledge of what may come through their letterbox any day of the week. Yeah. Maybe withdrawing money, maybe withdrawing support, and many other areas. And to me, this is the most serious thing that's happened to our retired and older people.
Well, the government parties are getting the message, Ian, on the basis of what you're saying, because Fine Gael and Labour are being hammered here in Donegal, and they've been hammered around the country as far as we know. But they will say that they were left a legacy, and other people will say it was the fault of the banks, and it was the fault of speculators, and it was the fault of everybody will blame somebody else. But in relation to Donegal County Council, Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin and the Independents are going to be the three strong elements going back, based on what we've seen here with the tallies today.
Well, you see what you've just said as well. I think when the new council assembles, the first thing they have to realise, we need to set a group of priorities. Let it be in roads, let it be in water, let it be in sewage, let it be anything else, because Donegal is like a reservation where the Indians, as long as they keep quiet, nobody wants to know. Yeah. Now, you just raised the issue about Donegal County Council. Sadly for me, they don't have the authority they should have. They're named as an authority. To me, it's a talk shop in many cases. And the media have watched them day in and day out playing politics in the chamber. Do you know it's disgraceful in this day and age, if we've got any education at all, to realise what our people out there are facing, and we're the people that represent them. And I even voted for the budget for one reason. The electorate had appointed 29 of us to sit in Donegal County Council, and they think that we couldn't do the business for the people we were elected to do, and would have preferred, in some cases that's expressed to me, I shouldn't have voted for the budget. Would they have preferred to send somebody down from Dublin, from Phil Hogan or anybody else, to sit in an office in Milford and dictate to all the people of this county what they could get, what they would do, and what they could withdraw?
It nearly happened. It nearly happened.
Well, you know, it was my deciding vote, and I was confronted with it earlier, and I just had one thing to say. We're sitting talking about jobs all the time, and I'm not going to allude to anybody or what happened that would say the budget was carried. But the one thing certain, sure, I heard two members say they'd be in the dole the next day. When you hear things like that said to you, young men being turned off a job that they had, like to go in the dole again, or maybe, you know, emigrate. Yeah. To me, it was starkly clear for me what I should do in the interest of Donegal people.
So finally, a job to be done now, whatever 39 goes back, but 37, sorry, you're delighted that Ian McGarvey's going to be one of them, and still a job of work to do back there.
Well, I have no doubt in my mind. There is a job to do. There is a job to create a balance, because everybody knows Donegal and northwest of Ireland, there's deprivation, there's unemployment, there's all the things that you could talk about. Yeah. And yet and all, we can sit in there and play politics as long as we like, but nothing ever happens. That's not the way forward for me. The way forward for me is the 37 of us who go in there actually realise the implication for them and the obligations they have for the people who put them there. Because we're taking their money, and as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm taking the money, I want to earn it.